Look at that beautiful, majestic tree. Growing a whole ecosystem of other plants. Over 100 different plants probably survive, from lichens to mosses to epiphytical astillias and orchids. And even there's a tree there, I think a miro is growing in the middle of it. It's seeded there and growing. It's still growing out on the outer branches there. You can see there, that's still alive in its outer branches, grabbing for life, grabbing for eternity. This tree is the grandfather tree of the Waipoua Forest. There was a grandmother tree at one stage. This is Te Matua Ngā Here of Aotearoa, the land of the first light, New Zealand. Agathis australis. Majestic. Majestic. Absolutely majestic. And it only lets the surviving plants live on there. Strangulation plants don't get a chance because they get shunned off. The bark, as you can see here on this younger kari, the bark sheds off. So the bark grows in scales and layers. And if an epiphyte decides to grow up the side of it, it will release that bark and the epiphyte will fall to the forest floor. But all around me there is young kari. This one's over 3,500 years old, I think. Tāne Mahuta is over 2,000 years old, but he is taller. He's the tallest kari tree in New Zealand. But this one is the widest. So its girth is 16.41 metres around. Total height is just under 30 metres at 29.9 metres. Trunk volume is 208.1 cubic metres. 208.1 cubic metres of wood that is preserved for all eternity. And it could grow feasibly if kept healthy by the kaitiaki, the caregivers, the guardians of this forest. It will live for up to 8,000 years, potentially. So this is an amazing forest walk of epic proportion of kari everywhere. And I am so blessed and privileged to be able to walk here today and to spend some time with the kari. Even though it's spitting with rain, it's okay. It's only a bit of blessing. I call it a blessing. Most people call it a blessing when the rain comes down on you. Blessing from Mother Nature. Blessing to say, hello, we're here. We're working with you. Here is a young sapling of kari, right here, growing straight and tall and reaching up for the canopy layer, that it can find a gap to remain tall and straight, because they are very, very, very straight trees. And this one's probably only 60 years old, maybe? They're very slow growing. Very, very slow growing. Incredible. But what a beautiful place to come and spend your time. There's another young sapling. And there's more down below it. I found them all along this walk. Here's another one right here, right on the boardwalk. Incredible. They're just everywhere. Prolifically growing in their habitat of love. Habitat of life. These are all karis around here. These beautiful, beautiful karis. So you can see this epiphytical strangulation plant here. So eventually that bark up there at the top there will shed off, and that whole strangulation plant will just go down into the forest floor and fall down. So they're not allowed to grow there. The karri won't allow it. They protect themselves. But it's just karri everywhere. It's incredible. Just incredible. How lucky are we to have this in New Zealand? So Agathis australis, the New Zealand karri, can be found in parts of Australia because we were part of the same country at one stage, Gondwana land. But there are also Fijian karri, another type of agathis. They don't grow as tall or as wide because they're in a hotter climate. And there is an Australian karri as well. But the New Zealand rimu is indigenous only to New Zealand, which is incredible really. Look at all this, look at all the young karri down here. This is like a karri nursery ground. This is like preschool for the karri, and they're all living in the compostation of this old tree stump, which could have been a karri or could have been a rimu, I'm not sure. But this old tree stump has become life to many, 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 many plants. And there is karri galore in here because the compost, the humus layer from this decaying trunk is giving life, not only to the epiphytical plants and the other plants growing in amongst it, which there are lancewoods and different other plants, astelias. It's creating a nursery ground for these beautiful karri. Look at them. They're everywhere, all these little tiny karri. Look at them all. Incredible. They're everywhere. Right here. Right here. Look at that. Look at that. I get so excited. They're just everywhere. This one is growing in the stump of a tree. It's actually growing in the stump of that tree there. Incredible. Incredible. They will just grow anywhere. And they're not weeds. They're majestic trees. They grow into these huge big trees right there. And of course it's survival of the fittest, the law of nature. They find their way to survive, find their canopy layer, find their hole in the sky to reach up and grow their glorious branches and leaves